Ever driven a car with a radar detector, it's hard to go back. So what we're doing here is the RL360 from K40. So that's going to be front and rear radar protection. That's what this is right here. This is a radar receiver. So this gets mounted completely behind the bumper. It will go right through plastic, so it's completely invisible. There's going to be one on the back as well. What that does is detects police radar from pretty far away. This will give me probably a mile of range, if not farther than that, on a straight, like clear line of sight kind of road. If this is out west, you'd pick this up from multiple miles away. That's going to help me have some time to slow down in the event that I'm just going over the speed limit just a little bit. We also have laser jammers on this. So before you ask, yes, it is legal. Everything on here is legal. You are allowed to detect radar. You are allowed to jam laser. You are not allowed to jam radar. So there's no radar jammers here, but there are laser jammers. So let me show you what that looks like. So that's this small receiver here. And this gets installed on the exterior of the car. It has to be visible because laser works basically with visible light. It's infrared. And so this has to see it. This has about an 18-inch radius around it that is protected. So if you can envision a circle here and here, and when the police are using laser, they're going to aim for a reflective surface pretty much dead center in the car. They have to look through a scope, and it's actually kind of complicated to get it perfect from what I understand. So they will get a reading on you eventually. But with the jammers, we can choose to either jam as long as we want, or we can jam for, I think it's 10 seconds from K40, and then they will get a reading on you. So either way, you're protected. It gives you enough time to slow down, and then the officer doesn't realize that you're jamming them. Of course, we would never condone driving over the speed limit, but if you happen to be running late to an important meeting and you're going 5 over, this system's perfect. Now you won't have to get a ticket on your way to your meeting.
Ran the wire, drilled a hole in here, and then covered it up. Sealed it, ran the wire through here, put ties in with adhesive around the hole we cut for the detector, down and around, and up through the same hole. The wires come out here, follow this line, and meet with the radar detector wire.
All right, so gauge clusters get scratched super easily. In fact, just cleaning this one off, it has some really, really minor scratches. So I'm going to do something weird. I haven't done this before. We're going to try to PPF the gauge cluster. I'm positive I can get it to lay down. I'm assuming it's going to look clear enough to be okay. This is out of my Redeye. We have the cluster out because we're going to be installing some LEDs for the bumper mount radar detector inside the cluster here. So we figured while it's out, we might as well give it a shot. Hopefully no water sneaks behind here. I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life seeing water spots there. Once this cures, we're not going to have to worry about scratching this. We can wipe it however we want and clean it however we want. This is sort of another level of psycho, but I'm excited for this. So this is the 360-degree system, which means we're covered front and rear. And this radar is mounted down low, somewhere in this neighborhood, and that was to avoid the license plate from all angles. So if we mount it over here, you might have some issues over here. But radar is so big that it's pretty easy to detect. Now the laser jammers, they're going to be mounted right here and here, right next to the plate. They usually aim for the plate because it is reflective and it is the center of the car. So I should be completely protected from laser. Now, Pennsylvania doesn't really use laser, at least to my knowledge. I've never been hit with laser in Pennsylvania, but a lot of other states that neighbor us, New York, I know does. I think Ohio does as well. So those are going to be important. We like to travel a lot. We like to do road trips, and that's why these jammers are very important. Inside the car, this is what's fun about K40. There's a couple of different systems on the market for bumper mounts. There's one called Redenzo, and there's, of course, Escort, everybody's familiar with, and then there's K40. Those are the three big ones, I would say. Of course, the actual detecting capabilities are very important. Does it work? Does it pick up on radar? Does it work against the Dragon Eye laser gun, which is constantly changing frequencies, basically, so it's trying to untrick the things that are trying to trick it. K40 says that this does work against Dragon Eye, so that's good. Now inside the car, the Escort system has a control panel that you mount somewhere. Some people like that. I don't. K40 basically has a control panel as well, but it is a wireless remote. So this has a clip on it. We clip it to the visor. You can keep it here. I've seen some people actually permanently mount this too, similar to the Escort system, but I like it to be mobile here. And what this does is all of your functionality is right here. Your mute button is right here, so if it is bothering you, if it's a false alarm or whatever, you just reach up and hit that button. Your quiet ride settings are right here also, so I'm going to show you that. So when you start up the car, you're going to notice in the gauge cluster 2 LEDs. And those are the indicators. Now, we mounted those. Caleb did a really nice job mounting them behind the glass in the gauge cluster, so they basically look like factory. Fire the car up. You'll hear it make some noise.
K40 scan active.
Goes through its little test, and you can adjust that to be a shorter test if that drives you crazy. It's never bothered me. When front radar is hit, the left is going to light up. When the rear radar is hit, the right is going to line up. You just heard it say GPS connected. That's what this is up here. This is a GPS antenna. Now this, of course, should be mounted to the windshield, but we're getting ready to tint the entire windshield with a UV protective film. So this is just hanging out here until we're done with that. Probably my favorite feature about the K40 system is the quiet ride. So you'll hear it say quiet ride 50. We can adjust the speed, 55, 60, 65. I like to keep it on 50. Basically what that means is once it is connected to the GPS, which happens in a couple of seconds, it will not make any noise underneath that speed. I'm going 45 miles per hour and there is a police threat with radar, or if there's a false alarm, it's not going to make noise and cause me to maybe hit the brakes out of instinct. Because I'm not speeding, it doesn't make any sense to try to hit the brakes in that situation. And you can adjust quiet ride on the fly very easily. So if you get onto the turnpike and you want to change that to 65 or 70, it's a couple seconds to do that. I love that feature. All right, so we're going to show you guys how this works when you're in the car and you get hit with radar or laser. We have a tester for both of those. So I'm going to first shut quiet ride off. Go ahead and hit the radar gun.
Rear K-band.
So you hear it saying K-band, and the rear for some reason is picking that up right now, as opposed to the front, but I know the front works because I was testing it. So again, you can see as it's getting hit with radar, as he's just pulling the trigger, it's flashing, it's telling you, hey, there's radar going on somewhere. That gives you enough time to slow down in a perfect world. And in most scenarios, almost all of them, that does work. Now take the laser tester, aim it at those. He's using a laser tester right now, which is not exactly the same as the police laser gun. Those are very expensive, but this gives you the idea. So it's getting hit with laser. It's lighting up both of them, telling you, hey, you need to slow down right now, and it is actively jamming those as well. Now, we can't see the jamming on the other end of that because we don't have a gun, but good to go. So we're going to take it out on the road and show you at least how it works from the radar perspective. Again, our laser tester is not going to work like the laser gun does, so we can't test the laser out on the road, but we know that it's working. We know that it's getting the laser signal and responding the way it should. We just went for a ride in a 1400 horsepower Redeye, so this one's going to feel a little slow. But Isaiah is going to be testing the radar up front here. So he's going to be standing here. That's the one we went for a ride in. It's crazy. Isaiah will be standing here with the radar gun in the front of the shop. We're going to do a quick little loop just to show you how it works.
Front K-band.
Wow, okay, so it's already picking it up. We are probably a solid quarter mile away. And on a straight road, it probably works a lot farther than that, honestly.
Rear K-band.
So it's hitting the rear right now. And it's a pretty strong signal, and we're pretty far. So right now, if an officer was trying to get our speed coming the other direction, there's no, he probably can barely even see the car at this point. We're going to crest this hill, and I'm assuming it's going to die because of that. Yeah. So I'm going to flip around. Yeah, so the front's picking up perfectly, just like it should. And even if I was going pretty fast, I would have plenty of time to slow down right now before anybody could get a reading. And so radar bounces off of metal, so any other cars that are in front of you, it's bouncing around and it makes it easier to pick up. So as long as there's cars in front of you, this system's going to pick it up every single time. So in addition to working very effectively, K40 also has a speeding ticket guarantee, which they will actually pay your ticket. And I have personal experience with that. I wasn't paying attention to my radar detector. I didn't think that it was actually a cop. I got a ticket, and K40 still paid the ticket. And I even told them that it was sort of my fault. I just didn't listen to the thing. They don't care. They still paid it. So I really like K40. I really like the products that they make. Super happy to have it on the Redeye. We're going to show you guys lots of new mods coming on this car very, very soon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for that if you like Hellcat stuff.